You don't have to spend too long in Bangalore for someone to remind you that you've got a trophy to win. For me, the real aim and the aspiration is to inspire our fans. We're very blessed with incredibly loyal fans, and I think our number one task is to inspire them. How we do that is obviously winning games of cricket, but it's the way we play and the things that we achieve along the way. So even last season, I'm pretty sure that the way we turned our season around was an inspiration to people. So we wanted to add more of an Indian flavour to our coaching team. That's certainly one of mine and Andy's reflections. In DK's case, we were really keen to add him. The moment that I was aware that he was contemplating retiring, and in fact even before then, to be honest with you, I thought he was somebody that would really add value as a coach.
Somewhere in the deep end of the season last year, there were murmurs about whether you'd be interested, but I didn't take it too seriously at that point of time because I was very clear I wanted to finish with RCB, finish as strong as possible, and I had given it everything. So I thought it was time to move on to a different phase in my life. And then post the season, Mo contacted me. I know I'd always chalked up a good relationship with Andy Flower, and most importantly, Virat Kohli was very happy to see me in that role if I chose to do it. So all things put together, I sat back with my family, knew it was a big opportunity. Being part of RCB is a very special feeling, purely because of the brand of cricket that we play, but also the fans that we have. And most importantly, it's a journey that's been filled with lots of highs and lows, but the trophy hadn't reached the shores of Bangalore yet. So if I could be part of that journey, why not? That was a big question in my mind. I know how close we were when I played. So here is another opportunity for me as a coach, so I decided, all right, let me take it up.
And that 6 and 7 is replacing DK. So that has to be strong enough to...
So, but, okay, we'll get there. As we put things in, realize that there was a compromise somewhere we have to move.
We need to see where it won't hurt us. We need to check that.
In an auction, there's a lot of ebbs and flows in those 2 days. It's a high pressure environment, and you do a lot of prep knowing that that process that you've had is going to stand good under immense pressure.
I want to work in combinations. So let's do top 3 and work out our depth. In our top 3, we know that Virat's there, but we go with the other 2. Which other player or role is most important to us? Great. Who complements that? Okay. If we don't get our second role, what does that mean for what we need in our third role? Like, we have to approach it in that way. Same for 5 to 7, same for our pace attack, same for our spin attack.
And I thought we did beautifully in picking a very balanced squad, knowing what sort of players we want, which player would fit in which role, what is the kind of bowling attack we have, what has RCB lacked before that we can make sure we get, what is the kind of super strength that we could possess if we pick a certain squad.
I wanted to try and build a vision for a team, and then as you go to the auction, you try and bring that vision to life.
Just as we were picking the team, we used to put players in certain roles and see how they fit. We were very sure this is the kind of batting order we wanted. And in the auction prep as well, we had a few 11s as combinations. And in that we had certain players, certain names in mind.
The 3 of our 4 overseas slots are going to be, number 1, likely to be an overseas opener. And that might be one that we debate. And as you can see in those teams there, Freddie has got that highlighted in pink. So that's role number 1. It's probably more than a safe assumption and more than likely that we will have an overseas middle order batter. And it's currently carded at 5, could be 6. We don't have to worry about the number. 1 overseas quick is a definite. So I think we can trust that certainly 2, but probably 3 of those overseas roles will be opener, middle order, and a quick.
And as and when we picked players, we put them in the slots that we believed they could be good in and moved forward with the auction. So by the time the auction got over, we were very sure what our starting 12 would be. Very, very sure about that.
Yeah, I think if I look at Team 5, it feels like the most complete structure.
That is probably up.
We did without a...
nobody gets everything they want at an auction. It's just pretty much impossible. But I think we got predominantly what we wanted in terms of playing personnel. But more importantly, with the actual shape of the team and the vision of that team that Andy and I have spent so much time thinking about and talking about, we pretty much nailed that, and that's probably been the satisfying thing this season, that you get to see that come to life on the field.
There's a couple of reasons why we wanted an Indian core. First being that we feel like it's a good way to try and win the tournament, obviously. But I've been looking a little bit into caps and Indian caps. So up here you've got our context, and then you've got a couple of examples to compare to. So before last year's IPL started, so going into the season, 65% of our total caps on Indian players, so we're not talking about overseas players here, on Indian players were held in these two people, DK and Virat.
The difference between this current RCB squad and some of the ones that were picked previously are A, the amount of experience through the 12 players. B, the strength and depth in batting. Most importantly, the quality of bowling. So all of these three things were very evident, and many leaders, not just one or two big names, but lots of leaders through the 12-14 players that we had picked.
Having a number of those leaders in the group is going to help Rajat, not just Virat, but some of the international experience that we have in the squad, and Indian players like Jitesh, Krunal Pandya and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. I think those type of players will be a great support to a young and up-and-coming captain.
We need to make sure that we're assessing players against how we want to play. That is key now at this stage. And they might be sort of output related, or it might even be attributes, because we might not have an output or a metric. So we need to be thinking about outputs and attributes there. Well, I think we're trying to play in a way that's quite similar to the way we played the second half of last season. So we want to be as aggressive as we can with the bat. We want to have a real wicket-taking approach with the ball. We want to be fighters on the field and play really aggressive cricket. We also want to be the type of team that's resilient and can deal with pressure and the challenges that we're faced with. So I think a lot of that is similar. I think the scheduling right at the start of the competition was quite helpful for us, because we had a little bit of gap between our games. It gave us a little bit of time to just click into some of our routines, to practice a little bit more and to get guys used to their roles. So that was really helpful. I enjoyed that. I also quite enjoyed the middle period of the season. I remember looking at that schedule at the start of the season and thinking it was going to be quite difficult. We had 7 games in 22 days, including 7 travel days. So that period in the middle, I looked at that and I was quite daunted by that to begin with. But actually in hindsight, it worked really well, because it means that if you win a game, you keep that momentum going quite quickly because you play again. But if you lose a game, you don't have that long to feel sorry for yourself. You have to lick your wounds in and you have to get going again. The main things that we wanted from DK was, you know, that word mentor gets used quite a lot, and it's used quite a lot in the IPL. I think he's doing a really good job at bringing that to life.
That's what we want. Bet, high quality.
All credit goes to Dinesh Karthik, DK Anna. Because of his effort only, I was capable to do this, to know this caliber that I can hit also, because I never played those shots. But whenever I met the first time with him, he said that you can play 360, you can play every shot of the cricket. Just you need to be believe and to do some hard work.
Being a mentor has been the most exciting part of this team for me personally. Why? Because there are different players in different stages of their life. Let's start with Phil Salter. There is a certain amount of information that he takes from me tactically. That's been helpful. I like it when you get angry actually. I kind of feel about better in fact. With the Jitesh Sharma, I see so much that I could work with. And he's so talented, so open to ideas, and so welcoming with any sort of advice given to him. I enjoyed that.
मुझे लग रहा है ऐसा खींच के बांधा हूँ तुझे स्पिनर के लिए, तू खुल के खेल स्पिनर को.
With Swastik Chikara, he's like a raw, uncut diamond. Just need to polish him and unleash him when the time is right. ये batting है, lovely. You take Tim David, just a couple of areas that he could probably become stronger at. Very small, he was very sure about what he needs.
Yes, we did. What was that, buddy?
So different players, different roles. With Rajat and Virat, just allow them to be as normal as possible. So as a mentor, my whole point was how can I deal with different batters, and for the bowlers, if at all they require any help tactically, I'm always there for them. So that is how I looked at my role.
Andy's job is to try and prepare the team, and then the captain takes the team onto the line. One of the best things about Andy is he's very capable of flexing his style. So in a world where he's got a really experienced captain or team,
It's a hell of a shot.
he's very good at empowering those guys to do things their way. He's also really good at supporting someone that might not have quite so much experience, because he's been there, done it as a coach and as a player, and he can provide a bit more direct leadership. So I've really enjoyed watching him head coach slightly differently this year to how he did last year, because the team has changed and the captain has changed. Essentially, we share the principle that we would like our players to walk onto the field and make their own decisions. And to do that, you've got to create a decision-rich environment on and off the field. For Andy and I, creating a sort of environment where people feel safe, where they feel backed, where they feel like they're accountable for their own decisions, and where they're able to hopefully showcase their strengths. That's a key bit. A lot of these players have achieved so much elsewhere. It'd be a real shame that if you brought them to a competition like the IPL and they can't actually put their strengths into practice. So for us, the key bit is they're here for a reason. We've recruited them for a reason. Go out there in front of the world and showcase your strengths.